Supreme Court hearings, what are we thinking so far? What's going on?
This has been like the worst soap opera somebody would watch during the daytime, featuring actors who couldn't get hired on a Hallmark movie. That's the kind of theatrics that we've had with this Supreme Court hearing. All right, so we could go down a couple different roads for this because it's fascinating. Let's start with just what we know about Ketanji Brown Jackson, okay? Let's go down a little checklist here. We found out this week, based off of her words, not mine, she doesn't know what a woman is. Now, 20 years ago, that question would seem like it's a little ridiculous, but times have changed, Coach. And now you have to define what a woman is. Because if you're going to be sitting on the high court with some of the greatest legal minds in this country on the Supreme Court, you're going to have to start dealing with cases of transitioning, transgenders, women, men, sports, all kinds of different things. So I think it's a fair question to ask somebody, what is a woman? Especially considering she's there because she is a Black woman. Again, not my words, that's Joe Biden's words. He wanted a Black woman. If you were a qualified Black man, there was no chance you were getting this gig from Joe Biden. If you were a qualified Asian or Latino or white woman, there was no chance you were getting this gig from Joe Biden. She is there because she checked a certain amount of boxes on the Democrat playbook. And I don't think it's too over the top to ask somebody who could be making decisions on what happens with some of these transgender cases, define a woman. You would have thought that somebody asked her to break down the square root of 7.5 thousand, Coach. There was no answer. I don't think it's asking too much to have a Supreme Court justice at least give us an answer. How hard is it to say that a woman has female DNA? You're born a female. You have reproductive organs. You have 2 X chromosomes. It's really not that hard. If the Democrats are the party of science, which has been shoved down my throat for 2 years, how is that a hard question? We also learned that Ketanji Brown Jackson has kind of got a little bit of a history of going soft on those busted with child porn. Now, that's not a stigma that I would want to have with me if I were a judge. So the specific case that was really brought up in the hearing this past week was an 18-year-old who had tons of ridiculous amounts of child porn of an 8-year-old. And back when Ketanji Brown Jackson was doing this trial as a judge, she gave him 3 months, just 3 months, substantially lower than what all the prosecutors were asking for. And when grilled about it, her excuse was, well, there's the internet. It makes it easy to disperse. And what? What kind of ridiculous answer is that? And the one thing that I noticed about this trial, Coach, is that it's been, for the most part, about her legal decisions, her judicial background, and her way of thinking, which are critical to somebody who, again, is going to be on the highest court in the land. What you haven't heard are questions about farting, questions about beers, question about what you had in your high school yearbook, question about her dating life. Can you imagine what would happen if Josh Hawley asked Ketanji Brown Jackson about farting? Can you imagine how the internet would break and every single person in the world would lose their minds if they treated her the way they treated Brett Kavanaugh? They didn't treat Brett Kavanaugh about his decision-making in the courtroom. There's nothing about that. It was personal, just horrific attacks on a guy in his family. For the most part, what I've seen with Ketanji Brown Jackson's hearing is that it's been about her way of thinking, whether it's from critical race theory, going soft on perverts, not answering what a woman is, trials she's had in the past, why she thinks the way that she does. I think these are fair game for a Supreme Court hearing.